Actor Andrew Buchan and his wife of 11 years, former Emmerdale actress Amy Nuttall, have apparently separated. And with reports that he's now moved in with his Better co-star, that says in the show Better, Leila Farzad. Is it always best, Col? I mean, sort of parking that particular example to one side, we do read a lot in the papers of other relationships where people have fallen in love with other people. Do you think it's always better to have that conversation early on or wait to get to crisis point? What do you reckon?
Well, I think, you know, taking feelings out of it, it's easy to say you should have that conversation straight away. As soon as you start feeling maybe something's wrong, you should have the conversation before it gets to that stage. But that's easy to say when you're not sure of what your feelings are doing.
Yeah.
So you might meet someone and think, I do really like them and they're bringing out these feelings in me, but I don't know if I want to give up 11 years or 15 years or 20 years. And then by that stage, it's all become complicated and technically, whatever, you're cheating. So you know, in an ideal world, you know, I have cheated in the past, years and years and years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, if it ever got to that stage again, which it never has and never would, because I saw the devastation it caused, I would say to them, we need to sort this out or this might happen.
Yeah.
Because then you're sorting it out. But it's really hard to be that sensible in that moment.
Yeah.
But you know there's something wrong with your relationship, don't you? So there's obviously something going on in your own relationship which makes you look outside.
Yes.
And sometimes I feel really awful because there are children involved and there's a marriage involved. Where there's marriage, there's so many things that are intertwined. You've got, you know, houses and friendships and the extended family, which also then gets hurt and upset about the situation that's happening. And I always say, you know, what men sometimes fail to realise is that our intuition as women is so on it, like we get it straight away. And if you say, oh, you know, we're just hanging out or we just had a couple of conversations, it's like, you know, that might be level 1, but we're at level 10. Yeah. We're like, you know, hang on a minute, you know, when is the ding-dong going to happen? Because even if you've had that conversation, you've entertained that, we know the scale of where that's going to go. But sometimes guys are a bit blinkered and they're, oh, we're just hanging out, we're just, you know, we're just having fun. Exactly. Exactly. And then they come back to you 3 weeks later, and if they're honest, they might go, oh, actually, yeah, she did, you know, try it on me. And I'm like, really? No kidding. You know, or if they don't and they end up going down that route, they knew already.
I think you're right, it's intuition, because it's happened to me twice. 2 partners have cheated on me, and both times I've known something was wrong in the relationship, and I've confronted them with it, and they've always denied it. Until eventually either one of their friends or one of your friends say, do you know this has been happening behind your back?
Is it because you think they're hedging their bets? They're thinking maybe this will be a fling?
Yeah. Technically. You know, it's not even sometimes, you know, I remember when it happened to me and they was like, but I always loved you, I still love you. And I was going, but you can't have both. That's not how life works, you know. Some people can, you know, they accept that, but I just wasn't that way.
There was a great film called Falling in Love with Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep, and they sort of meet on a train going into work every day, and they sort of, you know, they get quite emotionally involved, and then eventually his wife confronts him and he says, but we haven't had sex. And she just looks at him and goes, that's worse.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's the emotional
because they're probably doing nice things, going out for dinner together, holding hands, like...
That's the thing, and that was always the most upsetting for me, was the thoughts of them, because that's more intimate to me, you know, going out for a meal, going to the cinema, holding hands,
than having
hugging.
Sex.
That's more hurtful, I think, than the actual sex part of it.
Yeah, well...
Wow, you're all very quiet. I feel a little bit self-conscious on this topic. Well, just me then, Jane.
We're going to stick with relationship issues.
God, are we?
Another on-set love affair now. Actor Jon Hamm. Remember him from Mad Men and Bridesmaids. Now, he recently became engaged to his former Mad Men co-star after claiming that he would never marry whilst he was in his previous relationship. Now, this is an interesting one because he said he would never marry, but maybe his partner also felt the same way, the previous partner, so we don't know. But would you, Kelly, if somebody always said to you, I don't want to get married, and then they went on and married somebody else, would you confront them?
No, I wouldn't. Later for you, like, you know, at the end of the day, that's your loss. You had me, and you know, and I feel like And I feel like women should really value themselves, and now I'm not coming from the place where I always have valued myself. I was that woman that was cheated on and that, you know, went back, you know, 1,000,001 times. But, you know, I've now got to that point in my life where I'm like, no, I have worth and value. And if you feel like you can leave me, then good luck. You know, enjoy your life. And if they do intend on, you know, if they didn't marry me and wanted to marry that woman, good luck, because there's obviously something within that relationship that you saw differently to the one that I have. But I have value, and I think the right person will see that in me.
Yeah, we should point out, we have no reason to believe that John Hamm's ex has confronted him. It was more just like, we know there are lots of scenarios like this. I mean, I had a similar situation with a friend of mine, which for me was actually almost more serious because she wanted to have children and he didn't. They were married. And so she sort of went, well, he doesn't want them, so that's that. And then eventually they split up and he went on and had a child with somebody else. And by then it was too late for her.
Oh,
and I do terrible. Sort of, you know, I think that's really, really sad.
Yeah, because it's ruined her life, really.
Yeah. Sometimes it is the other way around. It's not always the man that makes that decision.
No.
It's women. You know,
a lot of women don't want to get married.
Yeah, my sister's been with her partner for 48 years now. They've never been married. First 5-10 years, he'd have married her there and then, but she was always very, don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids. And it's funny, out of all of us, they've stayed together the longest. That's where I went wrong. Too many marriages, too many kids. I could be happy now. I'd be happy with someone.
I think there's a lot of marriages as well, people stay together because of the kids, when really they shouldn't do.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because I think if you're on the same page, then it doesn't matter. If neither of you want to get married, but, you know, there's also been many times... I remember once going to this party and there was a couple there and I sort of, I don't know, I think I was just chatting and I said, oh, are you guys married? And he was like, no, we don't need a piece of paper to validate. And she was like that. Yeah. You could just tell that she was not on the same page.
But they don't talk about it. It's like the children thing. You know, they get married and then have a conversation and one of them goes, I don't want children.
Yeah.
It's like we just need to learn to communicate in life about everything. Just talk.
Or, you know, even if when you're dating, if getting married is important to you, then you need to have that conversation and say, look, 100%. This is what I want, and if you don't,
on your hook.
Do one.
Sling your hook.
Right, well, that is it for today.